All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you for a second time today. This time it is NBA Live Before Lock. I am joined by Rayen Patnaik. We've got a fun one here. You guys know him as Rinpack. We've got Game 6. They said it couldn't be done. It's never been done, but Boston is on the cusp of potentially getting to a Game 7 and getting to the finals. There's 2 wins in front of them, though, Rayen. What's going on? How's it been, my friend? And things have gotten spicy in South Beach.
Indeed, and we just got hit with some news right off the bat. I'm excited to talk about a Game 6, massive prize pools on this holiday weekend, and I'm tempted. I'm tempted to hopefully find a way to carve myself to first on DraftKings tonight as a loaded 200 grand up top. I ain't gonna lie, 200 grand at the end of the night would be really, really nice.
All right. So the big news, of course, big news number 1, Malcolm Brogdon out, forearm strain. I got that right, I guess, Rayen. Not that this was much of a stretch, because this is the kind of injury where gutting through it, really not helping the team. You want to see what he's done gutting through it. Go look at his shooting log for the last couple of games. It's kind of a detriment at this point. So that's not a surprise that he's out. I expect we'll see similar starting rotation here. But we got plenty of time to break all of that down. So let's wait just a moment as we continue gathering folks here on the holiday. Make sure you're getting into those large tournaments here. There are some nice ones, particularly over on DraftKings. So you want to check that one out. Rayen was telling me $200,000 to first has not happened outside of an NBA Finals in quite some time. So get it while it's hot, as they say. And I want to remind everybody that not only are we on this YouTube channel, which you should be subscribed to, as well as liking the video, hitting the like button for this video, but we have 4 other YouTube channels. The fun one you guys want to get to that's on every weekday is the Odds Shopper YouTube channel. That's to get the Odds Shop. That is a show that runs Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 o'clock. That is going to be with Laffy, Ben Raza, Greg Ehrenberg, Lindquist, Aton, and others, as they show you how to use Odds Shopper, Bet Pro, a variety of the tools that we have under the Stochastic umbrella, as well as learning how to build same game parlays with synergy, just regular parlays and such that have synergistic outcomes. It's a lot of fun, betting futures, etc. So check that out. It is the Odd Shop on the Odd Shop per YouTube channel, Monday through Friday. Okay, Rayen, let's break down the visitors first. That would be Boston. So assuming we get the same starting lineup with Robert Williams coming off the bench, Derek White in the starting lineup. Let's talk through that. Jason Tatum has been pretty good throughout these playoffs. A dud here or there, but 3 of the last 4 games he's had 50 or more fantasy points. 2 of them he has 60 fantasy points. Jaylen Brown, I don't know. Is he playing more defense? His stats just aren't there for us. And then we've got Derek White, who has gone from solid to benched to back in the starting lineup to hero. What are we going to get today? The floor is yours, my friend. What insights do you have after watching this matchup 5 times already?
Yeah, this is going to be a different rotation than any of the other rotations we've got for the visiting team. No Malcolm Brogdon. That's pretty important news. He's been battling that right forearm strain, like you said, his shooting arm, and he's been a detriment to the team. And we saw Derek White came out and he played his ass off. Was awesome last game out. Seems to be safe that I think Joe Mazzulla is just going to ride with Derek White. I don't expect Peyton Pritchard to enter the rotation, but certainly a pathway for him to pick up a couple extra minutes to do the ball handling duties over there in Boston. So it's going to really come down to how many minutes is Derek White going to be able to play, and how many minutes do they want Pritchard to be even on the court. That's something to keep in mind of. I certainly think there's a pathway of that happening now for Pritchard. With no Brogdon being there, just more minutes to the starters. Marcus Smart can certainly do the ball handling duties. So that's why I don't feel that inclined to say Pritchard enters the rotation. I just can see Smart and White just handling all the 48 minutes of bringing up the ball up the court. Yes, that's just playing the point guard position type of situation here. We've seen Tatum and Brown do that as well. So it's pretty interchangeable, just who brings up the ball. For Boston, they need to win. We know that it's a must-win game for them, and some would say it's a must-win game for Miami. Don't be going down 3-0 and then tying it up 3-3 is a pretty impressive feat as is. So this Boston team, it's going to be, I think we're going to see a lot of Jason Tatum just leading the way. Jaylen Brown has been awfully disappointing in terms of just fantasy perspective. I also want to say offensively for this Boston team, he finally scored above 20 points in this series. It's only happened twice. It happened in game one where they lost, and then happened last time out in 37 minutes, found a way to 18 shots. I don't necessarily think Brown is going to take more shot attempts than Jason Tatum, but if this game were to be played, I don't know, 100 times, I certainly think can happen at least 10 to 20 times. We have yet to see that happen. Last game out, they shot the ball identical number of times, if I'm not mistaken. Jaylen Brown shot the ball twice more than Tatum. So just looking for raw fantasy upside. Brown certainly has it, but keep in mind, very, very scoring dependent in this series as Tatum just has led the team with a bunch of usage here. And I expect Marcus Smart to play a bit more minutes just with no Brogdon there. Really expect White and Smart just to be on the court as much as they can, barring any foul trouble or injury.
All right, so a lot to sort not rebut, but a lot to let's take next level on a few of these here. Let's start off with Jaylen Brown. So my notes are at least he was efficient from the field in Game 5. Over his last two games, 16 of 34, that's 47%. These are his two highest scoring efforts, Game 4 and Game 5, outside of Game 1. Sadly, in Game 5, he had 2 assists, which is his low for the postseason, or tying his low, and he only had 2 rebounds. Now, in one of the earlier series, he had a 1 rebound game. He has made it to the 40 fantasy point plateau once in the last 9 games. How are you feeling about Jaylen Brown directly versus Bam Adebayo? They're separated by $200 on DraftKings. I hate to say it because I've already done how many never again Bam, I think at least twice this series, yet here I am choosing Bam Adebayo. Spoiler alert. What do you got in that? That's a direct decision point for a lot of gamers tonight, trying to find some differentiation.
Agreed. I just think we see one less body in the Boston rotation with no Brogdon. Yes, I know Brogdon didn't play many minutes last time. I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. I think okay. Jaylen Brown should be on the court for around 40-ish minutes, 40-plus minutes is my guess today. I know he hasn't played 40-plus in the series, I don't think. He played 41 in Game 7 against Philly. That's the last time he played 40-plus minutes, so that was a must-win game for them. He's been disappointing, but I do think he has I think his ceiling is a bit higher than Bam's. With Vincent being back in the picture, I don't think the ball goes through Bam as much. Vincent has been facilitating at a high level in the series in this couple of games, shooting from 3 pretty effectively. But with no Brogdon there, it's a trickle-down effect where I think Jaylen Brown's minutes could go up 1 or 2 more than if Brogdon were to play. So I'm just going to go with the team with potentially playing with 1 less body in the rotation of Jaylen Brown.
Okay, let's get your thoughts on Marcus Smart next. This was his high water mark in Game 5. Drained 4 3-pointers on 6 attempts, 5 steals. 5 steals. I don't think we're going to get that again. We may not get another 40 fantasy points, but he could get in the mid-30s here. How much do you want to go over the field on Marcus Smart at this point? I'll see if we have updated projections here.
I will be going above the field on Marcus Smart tonight. I just think he should be playing 40-plus minutes with no Brogdon there. More point guard minutes available, guard minutes available for Smart to eat up. I know it might be only a couple, but a couple minutes matter in this one-game setting. So, yeah, I like getting quite a bit above the field on Marcus Smart tonight.
All right, we just got the projections updated here. Marcus Smart for 35 minutes is where we're landing. Let me look just at Boston here, and I'll call some of these out. We've got Tatum for 43. That makes sense. Brown for 38.6. I agree with you. He's probably going to touch 40. Derek White at 34 minutes, basically. I think he gets a little more than that. Smart at 35 feels about right. Grant Williams. We haven't really gotten to the bench unit here. We've got one more starter to talk about. That's Al Horford. Big bad Al Horford. Had himself about as good of a game as he's going to get from a fantasy perspective in the last one. He now has to get there on efficiency, Ryan, because he's really not taking a lot of shots. Rebounds are tough because there's a lot of good rebounders on the court. We have less possessions in this particular matchup, and every possession, every trip up and down the court counts. How are you feeling about Al Horford?
Al Horford, I think, is probably has obviously a wide range of outcomes. We've seen games below 10, and we've seen games above 30 in this series. One game above 30. That's FanDuel scoring. So huge wide range of outcomes with Al Horford. You're really hoping on FanDuel he can pick up blocks, and he has shown the ability to do that at certain times in the playoffs. But at that price tag at 10.5, I prefer the guards a bit more in White and Smart than I do Al Horford. But Al Horford certainly has a pathway of playing low 30s to mid 30s minutes and picking up a ton of blocks and finding a way of being needed in that lineup. I certainly like throwing in Al Horford I think a captain spot isn't out of the question. His range of outcomes give you the ability to jam in some other guys as well, but he's just not a priority compared to Smart and White now with no Brogdon, is how I look at it. In terms of my starters for Boston, he's my least favorite captain option, but I like getting above the field at the captain position on DraftKings with Horford for what it's worth.
All righty. Let's move on to the reserves here, but I want to remind everybody we are sponsored by Prize Picks tonight. We'll talk a little bit about some recommended picks on there. Things a little tight there in the sports wagering market for NBA with just one game, but over on Prize Picks, you get fantasy points. They do have let me call it up on occasion, and they do tonight. They have pairs. So what they'll do is they'll put two players together and you get their over under for a particular statistical category. It can be players on the same team, it can be players on opposite teams, but it's a different little wrinkle here, which is kind of fun. So that gives us some other choices, some other options out there as we're building out our parlay card. Remember, if you go through our link that is in the YouTube description below, you guys can get a promo code, or pardon me, you will get 1 free month of Stochastic Premium if you're a new signee up there or over there at Prize Picks, and then you get a deposit match up to $100 with your first deposit. You'll want to put in the full 100 because they'll match it with 100, and those funds come out of your account first as you're building out your player prop card. So that is a really, really good deal. No sharks over there, no optimizers, no mass multi-entries. We're not playing against each other. We're playing against whatever lines they are posting. So that's always something that you can utilize to your advantage. 5 player cards. If you get them all right, you get 10x your entry, and then you can go 25x if you go 6 for 6. They also do Flex Fridays where you get your first flex pick after 10 a.m. on Friday is generally $20 back if you lose, up to $20. So I've been playing a $20 pick 6 every Friday. They've offered that. I have hit it once. That $500 is nice, but guess what? They give me $20 back when I don't hit it. So I've been breaking even, or sometimes I'll get 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. So that has been a lot of fun. Check it out, Prize Picks. Definitely a lot of fun there. And we also have the Bet Pro tool, or pardon me, the Pick'em tool, which offers it's premium, but it does offer projections for all of the different pickup sites. So check that out. Okay, Ryan, looking to the bench here. Grant Williams, he's probably going to play a lot of minutes. Let's start with Peyton Pritchard, however. What do you think the odds are that Peyton Pritchard does get a first half rotation?
Oh my God, first half rotation. I'll put it at this is a great question. I'm gonna say it's like even odds. Just because we've seen Pritchard play this rotation again, and we saw him play in game 1. Yeah, I think it's a pretty even odds, but I'm very skeptical. I just don't think you can. I don't think Missoula trusts Pritchard enough at times. He tried it in game 1, it didn't work out. So I'll put it as even odds, kind of a coin flip, in my honest opinion.
All right. What are the odds he gets a stint in the first half and a stint in the second half that it does not involve mop-up duty?
Less.
About 30%, maybe.
Yeah.
So for I wanted to get, before I sort of shaded one way or the other, foul trouble. Yes, he has a chance to get in. if he gets a first half rotation and is sinking his shots, he might get a look in the second half if it's not going to be mop up duty, and if it's a lopsided game in either direction. But I kind of think it's more like 1 in 3 that he even gets in the first half. But it's an interesting conversation point here. They could be looking for a spark. This is a kitchen sink game, right? All of a sudden, if Grant Williams is not making anything, Jaylen Brown is struggling, Brogdon's obviously not playing, White could struggle. They just need offense. We could see him. He come in and clank 3 into the first 45 seconds, and then we don't see him again. But that's kind of, I think, him getting more than 3.5 or 4 minutes outside of mop-up duties is kind of long odds, I think.
I agree with you on that. I think so. It's something to keep an eye on, though. I'm very it's going to be a key point on the DraftKings slate for sure. At that salary, he could really open things up. But I'm still skeptical. I just don't think we get more Pritchard minutes. I think it's like those minutes trickle down to potentially Grant Williams or some of the starters. I think if Boston was up 3-2, it's more likely we see Pritchard than in a must-win situation. I think it's just Boston needs to win. They don't necessarily want to play Pritchard. If they did, he'd be in the rotation. So I just think we just see the minutes go up for pretty much all the other guys who will be in the rotation, I think.
All right, Robert Williams. Will he be gracing any of your lineups tonight?
Yeah, I like going to Robert Williams. FanDuel scoring just certainly helps him out. He can fall in your pro spot, $7,500, $500 more than a very popular Max Strus. I think Robert Williams over there on DraftKings getting a little bit, or I think right around the field, right? So I think that ownership's going to change a little bit. The projected ownership, I think, with the issue with the news that Brogdon is going to be out. So I'm getting right around the field, slightly under for Robert Williams. He had a couple good stints in the game four game. He was pretty impressive then, but we haven't seen consistent minutes. Only his game high minutes were 25 minutes in game 1, and it's kind of gone down since then. Only played 18 last game. You're really hoping for blocks over there on FanDuel. He can certainly get them, but a lot of putback dunks, alley-oops, pick and roll action. If he's available for a Marcus Smart lob, or that's kind of how Robert Williams gets there. It's just like you're going to really hope that he's putting up 2 fantasy point per minute type of situation is maybe 15 minutes. That'd be awesome. Like you could find a way to pathway to 30 fantasy points, but I think it's more likely he's getting around 15 to 20 fantasy points than it is 30 in this situation. I think he falls a bit lower. There's certainly a pathway where his minutes go down a little bit if he gets played off the court. But I like him at FanDuel. 7,500 makes a lot of things work over there.
All right. Get a chance here to talk about Derek White. You can talk about Grant Williams, anybody else as we sort of vacate the Boston side here and head over towards Miami.
Yeah, Derek White, Marcus Smart both look pretty exciting options just because I think of the minutes. I think they're in a great spot to play a lot of minutes tonight. Barring any foul trouble, I think they certainly could play. Both can play 40-plus minutes. So I'm excited to go to them in quite a bit of lineups tonight.
But tell me how Grant gets 40 minutes.
Not Grant. White and Smart.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed the transition. And then anything you want to add on Williams there? I was like, oh my God, this is the whole key to the slate. Brian, tell me how we're going to get 40 minutes from Grant Williams off the bench.
No, not Grant Williams. I think Grant Williams can certainly play high 20s. He's been playing high 20s the last 3 games, but and he might play 30 with no Brogdon now, but no, it's not Grant. White and Smart certainly should be playing a lot of those minutes tonight. And Rob Williams, right. Yeah. You're really hoping for Al Horford foul trouble, like significant foul trouble. Okay. Even then, they've been riding with Grant Williams at the 5. That's I believe how they closed out before mop-up duty in Game 4. So certainly something to keep an eye on. That's why I don't think those minutes are as secure for Rob Williams as they once were.
All righty. As we head on over to Miami, I want to give everybody another way to get 30 days of Stochastic Premium. We talked about Prize Picks. So if you sign up there through the Stochastic link and you make your first deposit, you will get 30 days of Stochastic Premium from PrizePicks. Here's the way to get it via the avatar. Go over to stochastic.com/avatar, download the Stochastic avatar, upload that to your DFS site of choice, place first, second, or third in a contest with over 5,000 contestants. That is first, second, or third. That is not ties. That is not massive ties, hand-holding ties like we see on showdown slates. But if you get, if there's a three-way tie for first and you're one of them, that counts. You guys know what I'm talking about here. But get your screenshot showing your Stochastic avatar and tweet that at StochasticHOF on Twitter. Or if you're not a Twitter fan, you can email your screenshot to support@stochastic.com, and that will get you 30 days of Stochastic Premium. We also have a lot of fun with the different screen grabs and shout outs we get there. So even if you don't finish top 3, but you had a win that you want to celebrate, send that on over there, and you'll get Laffy reading you out potentially during the Showdown Hall of Fame segment. All right, Ryan, we're going to jump right to the cherry on top here because Michael Bernier gave us a super chat and he says, help, can I play Highsmith tonight? Now, he said, I need help, but I think this is all of us, a cry for help. Ryan, can we play Haywood Highsmith tonight? Because he started the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. He had a lot of minutes under his belt before it even got to blowout run. What are we doing with Highsmith?
I think you can certainly play Highsmith. Kevin Love has been absolutely getting cooked in this series. I'm going to be playing some Highsmith. He's very expensive on FanDuel, an insane price tag for Haywood Highsmith. He's $8,500. For what it's worth, Highsmith over there on FanDuel is more expensive than Robert Williams, Max Strus, Grant Williams. All three of those guys, I believe, project for much more minutes than Highsmith. I think Highsmith has a pathway of playing 24 minutes. It's going to non-zero chance. I think Haywood Highsmith can start this game or Kevin Love. That's something that I'm waiting to keep an eye on. I don't think we've got starters news yet. Just based on what happened last game, that's a reason why I'm inclining that could certainly happen. But I think you can certainly play Highsmith. You can certainly get fun with Highsmith. He opens up a lot of salary, specifically on DraftKings. $2,000 for Highsmith. We've seen time and time again, these very cheap players in the utility spot just open up things so you can jam in the studs of Tatum, Butler, Brown, and Bam. And you just can play Highsmith. He just opened things up. I mean, he is $2,000. He's $400 more than Zeller. And if for some reason Highsmith starts, I'm going to like him. I know he's not the most exciting fantasy point per minute guy. He's going to need to be effective from the field and grab some peripherals, but I don't know, 10 fantasy points could do it. And there's certainly a pathway. I think he gets there. And if he starts, he's going to be quite popular. Hopefully we get the holiday ownership discount with Highsmith if he starts, but we'll see. Time will tell.
All right. So let's talk about Jimmy Butler, or as I learned, I made Greg do a Zoom with me a couple weeks ago because I had to cover some stuff with him. So he's like, yeah, it's a Friday night. I know you're not doing anything. Let's chat. So we were talking a couple of weeks ago and I had to ask him, I said, where did this Himmy Butler thing come from? I said I hadn't heard it, and I wasn't following on the social media, but I had happened to see it pop on his basketball reference page when I was looking up. It was under his nicknames, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Is this like, I thought it was like maybe a religious reference or something like that. And I had to ask him. He's like, no, it was some meme where everybody says I am him or something like that. And he said then Jimmy Butler had some good names, and then he became Himmy Butler. Do we get Himmy Butler tonight? And now that I've mentioned that meme, can we officially just table it? Because I think it's a silly meme.
Yeah, the whole I'm him situation with Jimmy Butler, they need him to be I'm him. Yeah, at least a little bit to win this game tonight. Came out flat last game, disappointing. Only 14 points. Needs to be very aggressive. I want Jimmy Butler to be shooting the ball 25 to 30 times a game in a must-win situation. Yeah. Must win in the sense of like closeout game situation here. Jimmy Butler certainly has that in his bag. I do think if you prefer to play Butler over Tatum, I have no issues with that across the board. I think you might get a nice ownership difference there. They're expensive. You can certainly play both. I think there's you're going to have to spend down a little bit to get to both in certain builds over there on FanDuel, but It's pretty. I think you're going to see if you're going to play Tatum and Butler, you're going to see a lot of Max Strus in that lineup as well. So feel free to pivot off of Strus to pay up for a Robert Williams. I think that's one way to get your potential lineup to be less duplicated among others. But just in a position, if you guys want to play both Tatum and Butler over there, and MVP and stars, vice versa. For FanDuel, I think you got to get a little different there while capturing like your potential EV upside with this lineup. But I do think Jimmy Butler looks outstanding in terms of a single game slate. Like, I mean, more times than not on DraftKings, you just need to get the 5 highest scoring guys. And time and time again, Jimmy Butler, if you play this game 100 times, he probably gets there, I don't know, 90+% of the time, if not higher, in terms of being the 5 highest scoring fantasy scores on this slate. So I think Jimmy Butler is certainly a priority in terms of getting into your lineups tonight.
All right, let's go Bam Adebayo next. I wanted to see where he is on Prize Picks Adebayo because I want to see where his fantasy points are because he is someone that's there he is 35.5. That is a very, very tasty number. That is the one that Josh Engelman has been talking a lot about on his Prize Picks YouTube videos over on Odd Shopper. I think that's one we should go to today. Let's see where we have him currently. Our last projections have him for 37.75. I'm thinking we like the over there for a Bam Adebayo. What is your regular breakdown for Bam? And do you think he can get his on most sites 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists?
29.5 for Bam. 29
Yes.
and a half, you said?
Yeah,
Bam's
that was my never again with him. I think it must have been game 1 or 3. I missed out my 5-leg parlay because wait for it, he got exactly on the number. I was not playing on Prize Picks. I was playing on another site that does not give you ties. Bastard.
But I
think you got to play on Prize Picks, my friends.
I do think it's a very good line. I think 29.5 for Bam. I think the minutes can be closer to 40. We haven't seen that happen. So I like taking the over on Bam at 29.5. I think we project him for, last I checked, based on just what I quickly looked up, points and rebounds. I think we haven't projected for 29. You're really hoping for a couple assists, and Bam certainly has that in his bag. So, and I think he could play a bit more minutes than people are projecting around the market. So I think Bam looks pretty solid in terms of those projections. I like getting the over on Bam over there. I think it's a really solid projection for Bam. Bam did have that monster game where he put up 54.5 fantasy points. He's kind of been an afterthought since then in terms of fantasy, and he's expensive in terms of like DFS purposes. He's 14.5. He's $1,000 more than Jaylen Brown. I kind of prefer Jaylen Brown almost outright in the situation. I do think, with that being said, Bam's going to be very low owned, and we know he has huge ceiling upside to just take it down. So it's just a great tournament option, a great way to get potentially unique builds and high EV builds, in my opinion, with Bam today.
All right, so we got the standard Boston lineup: Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford at center. Talk to us a little bit about Gabe Vincent. He should be fully at least 80+% healthy. Do you think, coming back from that ankle injury?
Yeah, Toradol is a hell of a drug. I'm sure. I'm sure he's doing just fine. So
all the football players just sat up and said, "Wait, what? Can I get me one of those little vitamin T?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I hope Gabe Vincent's healthy. I think he certainly has been very exceptional in these playoffs. A lot of people think he's going to get paid the bag in the offseason. So I think Gabe Vincent is a fine option to go to. I think he's fine to get to in one of your pro spots over there on FanDuel. Don't want to really pay him in star. It just doesn't make for very logical lineups. It certainly can happen. 1 every 100 games situation with Vincent being the second highest scoring player over there on FanDuel. Interesting captain option as well on DraftKings. I think Vincent, we've seen huge upside games. We've seen Vincent be the highest scoring player on this slate in a blowout situation. So we've seen minutes of 35, 40, 36, and then 28 before he got hurt. He was going to play around at least, it seemed like 32 minutes that game before he got hurt. So I like going to Vincent. But for what it's worth, I like spending up to Derek White just a little bit. But I think we might get that. Oh, he might be hurt. He might not come in as owned as he needs to be. I'm getting right around the field. I think I might tweak that just as I finalize these builds. But once we got this Brogdon injury update.
All right, let's talk a little Kevin Love here. My guess is he starts, and I think we see him for about 5 minutes, and that's probably going to be it. That looked like what it was going to be in the last game. He ended up getting mop-up duty. So does that mean he is now considered a scrub, or was that just a little bit of a Spoelstra saying, hey, bud, I remember you, and if we make it to the Denver series, I'm going to need you for some more minutes. That one I would be willing to take his under. Earlier it was 9.5 points plus rebounds, assists. We had him projected right around that. You're hoping he doesn't come back after that first rotation. The first rotation, he's probably going to get 3 boards, 3 assists. And you're going to be sitting there going, oh my God, what happens? Last game, that's about what happened. Guess what? He still didn't get there, even though he played most of the fourth quarter. I just don't think this matchup sets up well for him with what Boston is doing. And I'm willing to take the under on on Kevin Love. Now, here's the both sideser. He's down to 2,800 on DraftKings, and he's equally cheap on FanDuel. Still has tournament viability, even if he only gets 12, 14 fantasy points, Ryan. What do you want to do with Kevin Love?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, as ridiculous as it sounds, his ceiling performance of 15 points, it is what it is. It might just get the job done. That's the nature of these single game showdown slates where Kevin Love at that price tag, you want him to knock down a couple threes. In those 14 minutes, he put up 7 shot attempts. He's taking those wing threes when he's open. We're not seeing him put his back to the basket anymore. He does get some rebounds whenever he's on the court. But what really concerns me was that Highsmith just stole all those minutes and played well.
I got to interrupt you. Kevin Love is not starting. Slam those unders now if you can still get them. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, Bam Adebayo.
Okay. Kevin Love might not play in this game. So this makes things very interesting. As I try to think about this a bit more, Caleb Martin might play just 40 minutes now. This is pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I think I would safely not play Kevin Love in any lineups now. I don't think he plays. If he does play, he's ahead of Zeller then. I don't think Zeller.
But is he really? Does Zeller now get the blowout run?
I don't know. This is what makes things super tricky. I'm going to remove Kevin Love from my lineups just because we might just see Highsmith ahead of him off the second unit for what it's worth. But this is going to elevate.
I feel so alive right now, Ryan. I feel so alive right now.
Yeah, no, we're getting breaking news on a 1-game slate. So this makes things very interesting, though. I do think Kevin Love might just come in overowned. He looks like a great optimizer play. 6,500 on FanDuel. If you want to play him, it's a 1-game slate. He can certainly play off the bench and be massively effective. That's how he got back in the rotation in the Milwaukee series. He came off the bench and was really impressive. And I want to say in games 1 and I think it was games 1 and 2 in the Milwaukee series, or one of the games he was very impressive. I believe it was game 1, and I think they just once Tyler Hero got hurt, he started, and he's pretty much been starting since then, since he's been getting cooked in this conference finals. So, but I think I'm okay with removing Kevin Love in my lineups, and if he burns me in this situation, just the nature of a 1-game slate, I think there's more chances he doesn't play now than he does, is kind of my reasoning now.
All right. Do you think Marcus Smart gets over or under 29 fantasy points? That is the Prize Picks line. And
yes, Prize Picks does follow the FanDuel
scoring. Yep.
Yeah, the official NBA scoring for what it's worth.
It is. Yeah, you're very correct.
And I will go with the over on Marcus Smart there.
All righty. And some people, what do you mean there's official NBA? Yeah, there is official fantasy scoring. For on NBA.com, they basically, God, this was what, 4 or 5 years ago, announced their scoring, and it just so happened to mimic FanDuel's, which I think was announced shortly prior to that. But it's the 3 points for blocks and assists is the big differentiator, and then the main difference from DraftKings is you don't get the double, triple double bonus as well. Okay. Max Strus. Does Max Strus? I said his role didn't dramatically change with when Lowry or with Vincent out, because Strus really doesn't get that many assists, right? And then in the last game he did basically nothing. He didn't get points. He didn't get rebounds. I think he had 2 assists, but put that one back in my face. But what are we doing with Max Strus tonight? And does this hurt him having Caleb Martin out there who does some of the same things he does? Meaning 3-point attempts that Kevin Love's probably not going to be
kind of sneakily. I think it kind of helps him. I do think
okay.
A lot of times we've seen maybe Caleb Martin take over, come in for Max Strus here and there in rotational splits. So now with Kevin Love, who's going to come in for Strus off the bench, we'll see. Obviously, Kyle Lowry might be sharing some of the court with Gabe Vincent. That certainly can happen. Yeah, I just think he's going to have to play a lot of minutes. He looks outstanding at 7K. Max Strus is one of those guys. He's very boom and very bust. That's just kind of who he is. Looking back at that play-in game, he dropped 40 fantasy points and he hit 30 in a Knicks series. And his floor, we saw last game, 4.5 in 24 minutes, but his ceiling is 40. We saw that in the play-in game against Chicago. That's a huge range of outcomes, and expect to follow those range of outcomes in this game as well. But 7K is 7K. He helps you fit a lot of Tatum Butler builds in the top part of FanDuel over there. DraftKings is a little different with Strus, but like I said, if he finds a way to knock down threes where you get 3-point friendly shooting on DraftKings, I think Max Strus is pretty exceptional tournament play on this slate. Recency bias ownership in terms of him being awful last game certainly can play in the fact here. I think a lot of the casuals will not be excited to go to Strus after what they saw last game. But very boom, very bust. You're really hoping he can knock down 5 3-pointers and just be really effective from 3. We just go back to that narrative. Role players play better at home. Just Max Strus seems like a very exceptional tournament play on this slate. Just keep in mind, his floor is literally what we saw last game. And he does have weirdly a super streaky ceiling in him.
All right. Is there anything else you want to hit on here? Well, Kyle Lowry, I guess, deserves some words from you. They don't have to be kind words.
He can certainly close over Gabe Vincent. If Gabe Vincent is hurt, he can certainly close. Kyle Lowry played 30 minutes last game, and he put up less than 5 fantasy points. So, like Max Strus, we saw a floor game last game. He's just Kyle Lowry. One of the it's been a fun career for him, but we definitely might be seeing the final season of Kyle Lowry, in my opinion. But he's certainly a guy who could close, and if he's going to close, he certainly makes for an solid option in the pro spot on FanDuel. I'm getting some Lowry over there, not that much, but a great way to get unique with Kyle Lowry in the pro spot, and then mixing and matching your spend up guys up top. I do think Kyle Lowry won't get much there. I don't have the balls in me to play Kyle Lowry in the star spot. I'm just not getting him in my range of outcomes in my builds like that. So I think that's just Kyle Lowry is going to come in. But I do think if Vincent for some reason retweaks that ankle, 30 minutes of Kyle Lowry, he was really good in, I believe, game 1 of the Knicks series. But since then, minutes have been anywhere from as low as 17 all the way to 30. We haven't seen him play anywhere near mid-30s. So those type of minutes equal pretty much volatile outcomes. But I think we should embrace those for a guy like Lowry.
All right. You know what everybody should embrace? Yet another way, a third way to get 30 days of stochastic premium. That would be by going over to BetMGM. Because if you have not yet signed up for BetMGM, if you come through our link in the YouTube description below in the YouTube chat, or use the promo code PLATINUMSUB, make your account over there, make your first wager. It needs to be at least $10. Once that wager settles, they will send you a promo code that gets you 30 days of Stochastic Premium. Even better, your first wager over there has a bet credits that will come back to you up to $1,000. So if you bet $10 and you lose, they're going to give you $10 in bet credits. You bet $100, and if you unfortunately lose your first wager, they will give you $100 in bet credits. That goes all the way up to $1,000. So definitely check that out. That's a fantastic way to potentially win your $10 back and get 30 days of Stochastic Premium for free. Please remember, get legal gambling age in most states is 21 or older. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. We have a super chat here. Malcolm Revamp says, Ryan, who is it for captain and MVP in cash, DK, and FanDuel? Let's do FanDuel first, because I've got some DK questions for you. Who's your captain? Is it Tatum or Butler?
I think it's Butler, because I can do let me make sure. One second. My cash lineup on FanDuel.
Oh,
sorry,
you're playing cash.
No, I can build a quick cash lineup, I think.
Oh, okay.
I will go. It's Tatum, but it's very close. But I will go with Tatum. I do think I have. Yes, it's Jason Tatum.
Yeah. All right, so things get interesting over here on DK. Now, I wanted to go Tatum or Butler, but I've been informed that Derek White may be a good option here. I wanted to wait and see what was going to happen with Haywood Highsmith here. So on DK, where we do have the 1.5 multiplier for points, but we also have it on the salary. Is it Tatum, Butler, or Derek White for you?
Tatum or Butler, Derek White.
And tens of dollars are riding on this for me, but thousands for others.
Jeez. You say no it like pressure. That. You say it like that. I got to put a full disclosure. This is not financial advice. So,
it's not advice. It's a guarantee.
I'll go with Derek White in the captain spot. I do think he helps you jam in an extra stud, which I do think those raw points matter. And I think you get quite a bit of minutes from Derek White. Don't expect that fantasy production we got last game. 8 of 11 is way too efficient. 6 of 8 is not normally repeatable, but certainly can happen. I just think those minutes can go from 37 to 41. And 41 minutes of Derek White is good enough, is a really good option for a DraftKings cash option, in my opinion.
All right. Would you play Haywood Highsmith in cash? He's $2,000.
It depends on your risk tolerance. I think he's a pretty risky cash option, but I would play him. If I was playing cash, I would play, I think, Highsmith. You're really hoping he just plays.
We need 7, 8 fantasy points. That's all I want.
That's asking for a lot if he doesn't play at EMac.
He might not. Coming into the last game, he didn't even have 7 minutes. Okay, yeah, he had 7 minutes, but you guys get the point. 5, 2, and 2 DNPs before he ripped off 36 minutes in the last game.
Spoelstra is really good, right? So there had to have been a reason. They must have seen something in the film room, right? He's like the film room guy, right? That's kind of how he got his come up in Miami. So there had to have been a reason why they played Highsmith 24 minutes. Kind of out of the blue. Kevin Love has been awful. There's a reason why Kevin Love is not starting. There's a reason why Highsmith was in the rotation last game, and I think we see Highsmith again. I don't think he was awful. I do think he was a lone bright spot in that Celtics win. So, it's a cash lineup. So he's 2K. Sure. If you don't want to play Zeller. Those $400. I do think Zeller still exceeds a couple minutes.
All right. And then would you go Adebayo or Brown?
Would I go Adebayo or Brown? I'd go Jaylen Brown.
Okay. So here's the probable Rin pack lineup. Derek White, Tatum, Butler, Highsmith, Williams, Grant, that is, and Brown. I'm going Adebayo over Brown.
Going Adebayo over Brown. Okay, that's fine.
I think it's reasonable. I think either one. I think it's a coin flip. It really is. It all comes down to does Highsmith get anything. So Correct. There you go. I see someone was asking about that in chat. There we go. Is EMac drunk? No, EMac spent 4 hours on the beach today. So I have a nice sunburn, and I put lots of we got 50 block from my face. I wore a hat, you can tell, because my forehead looks great. But the rest of me, even with literal, I need to just do zinc oxide and look with heavy sunblock. Otherwise, yeah. My nose perma red at this point. That's the one downside of being where it's sunny all the time, right?
That's fair. How long are you been in the state of Florida?
I've been here about 3 weeks, and I will be here a couple more before I head back up to Virginia.
Wow, 3 weeks in Florida. Where have you? What part are you headed off? Were you just in one spot the whole time?
Yeah. We are in Tampa, St. Pete area. So St. Pete Beach is the area. So it's fun.
Did you go to any Tampa Bay Rays?
I did. I actually went to, technically it was spring training, but in Tropicana Field. It was just a few days before the start of the regular season. So I did go to Tropicana Field. I hadn't been there before, but we were looking at some of, up at Dunedin and Clearwater, and I forget the other one, but the Yankees were still in town. It was $150 for a spring training ticket. I'm like, I'm not paying $150 at this point in the season. We're looking at a split squad.
Spring training games cost $150.
Yeah, it was all the snowbirds down here. Well, the game we went to was Phillies. There was of the quarter of the ballpark that was filled, 2/3 of it was Phillies fans.
Wow,
it's all the snowbirds down here.
That's crazy. That is wild. I did not expect spring training tickets to cost that much. Are there insane prospects in these organizations that are must watch baseball?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
I guess I learned something new. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was, well, it's small. I can't remember what is it, Tommy Lasorda Field is where the Dodgers play. Are
there fries made with real truffle from Italy? What's going on?
They're 3,000. The smaller ones are 3,000 to 4,000 seat places. So it's where the Toronto one is where their minor league, their AA minor league plays. And that stadium is also used by an area high school as well as the college. So for FanDuel Sportsbook the game line. So I think he means the total. Do you want to go over or under?
I'll go over.
Okay. I don't have FanDuel open, but I'm going to guess that the game line is probably 209.5. That's what I'm seeing at a couple other books. So 209.5. It went up a tick from earlier today.
209.5. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I just said over not knowing the line, but I think it's 209.5. And I mean, just looking back at this series, I believe the over of 209.5 has happened in every game besides one. Yeah, I think it happened in every game. I'm doing it off the top of my head. Yeah, I believe the over has gone over 2.5 in every game besides one. Do they know something that I don't know? Probably.
All righty. Well, they're probably just thinking more defense.
Just slow down, grind out game,
slow it down. Hope to get if one of the team gets their 3-pointers falling, and then they're off to the races. Another super chat here on FanDuel. Would you go Derek White or Caleb Martin at the pro spot? He's okay leaving 1,000 on the table. So he's kind of asking, can you leave cash? So I think yes, you can leave money on the table.
I like going to Derek White over Caleb Martin in the pro spot. In any raw point setting, I do think Caleb Martin comes in a little bit under-owned than White in the pro spot, but it's kind of the situation there.
All right. I get this question earlier. I got this question last night when I was on with Josh, but Ryan Houston, hey, Mac, you ever smoke a big joint on a boat in the middle of the lake on Memorial Day weekend, then come home and listen to the Stochastic? No, I wish I did, though, because the last time I smoked a big giant joint on, I don't think it was Memorial Day, Stochastic didn't exist. And you know what? The internet really didn't exist either. We didn't have internet in our houses last time. So... and I did inhale. There we go. Sorry, my 2020 presidential platform, I did inhale 26 years ago or whenever that was. So just put it out there. Own it. You got to own it. EMac was at Woodstock. Yes. Yes, it was great. I tell you what, man, when we woke up and Jimi Hendrix played the Star Spangled Banner, that was a moment. That was a moment. Favorite prize pick props. Well, you know what? We actually have a prize picks tool that I think we can give people a little sneak peek of here. Did you get your lineups in? I'm doing my final crunch here, but that shouldn't impact me from getting out some prize pick props here. I'm going to call out a couple here for you, and you can say if you agree or do not agree with where the stochastic projections are coming down. All right, here's a good one. Jaylen Brown. We have him at 60%, under 3.5 assists. We have him at 2.8. We've listed this one quite a few times.
Yeah, I'm just trust our model there. One thing I am skeptical of is in these under props in these playoffs and must-win games, that there's a non-zero chance that guy plays 44 minutes, and at that rate, kind of doomed.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good call out here. For that. And let's look at another one here. Derek White, under 2.5 3-pointers.
Under 2.5 threes for Derek White. 2.5 threes is a decent amount. That's a good line.
It is, but he got 3. Didn't he get 3 in the last game?
I think he got 3 in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good line. Can I stay away?
You can stay away. Sometimes there's no real good lines. The 34.5 for the over for Bam Adebayo fantasy points. I definitely like that one. The over. I'm going to call up my card here because I will tell you which ones I've picked. I took Bam Adebayo over 34.5 fantasy points. I took Caleb Martin over 24 fantasy points. How do you feel about that one?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Caleb Martin, 24 fantasy points.
Yeah, going slightly over with that. I think there's a pathway of him just playing 40 minutes.
Now, here's one I think you're going to get behind. Derek White, 26 fantasy points.
Oh, yeah, I think I'll get over that, yeah.
Okay, so we got that. We got Jason Tatum, 52.5 fantasy points. It's a tall order, but he's done it in 3 of his last 4 games.
Jason Tatum over
52.5.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the over there. I do want to give a shout out to our buddy Matt Butler, who watches our shows quite frequently. Shared a pretty interesting tidbit. With the games without Brogdon, and with Smart and Horford and Tatum and White, Sam Hauser was the guy ahead of the rotation, which is great to look back at the data there. My only thing is, I don't know if Sam Hauser can keep up in a conference finals must win game. But I think that's good to look at that that Hauser was ahead of Pritchard. So I just wanted to let everyone know that information there. I'll send the tweet to our producer. Maybe he can throw it up on the screen just to show everyone what I'm trying to explain here. So thanks, Matt Butler, with some pretty interesting insights there.
Yeah, that's a very nice call out there. We do appreciate that. We got 7 minutes to go here. I am going to, did I make too many lineups? Let's do some math. Yes, I got to cut a couple lineups here because I only want to make, how many did I say? I got to make 79 lineups. And that means I can cut 4 lineups here, and I will do that right now. And then we will talk some more fun here. Oh, wouldn't you know? Perfect. I couldn't have planned it better. I just merged my second crunch into my first crunch. I had 4 duplicates. That solved which 4 I'm not going to play. So it's nice when this stuff works out because I want to get this stuff uploaded here. Ryan, have you been doing any baseball these days?
No, I haven't, but our colleague just won 50 grand about 10 minutes ago.
Which colleague is that?
Josh Engelman. So congratulations to Josh winning 50 grand.
The 5-0, that is pretty awesome. So shout out there. I wonder if he used the lineup generator. We'll talk about that in a sec, but we'll do basketball for the next 6 minutes. But I do want to remind everybody we got an MLB lineup generator that is pretty cool. I'm going to go see if we have any other questions here in the old YouTube. We're pouring one out for Brandon Katz. It's not a show without Brandon Katz being permabanned. I'll pour one out. All I've got is water over here. I'm getting up early. There's no beer in my favor in my future tonight. We did the favorite prize picks, props. So we got you a couple there. Definitely look at the Derek White over fantasy points, the Bam Adebayo over 34 fantasy points, and or Derek White was over 26, and I think you said Caleb Martin, you were okay with it over 24.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Who are you terrified of not having enough of tonight?
Probably based on what I'm looking at, Duncan Robinson.
Okay.
I don't have much of him right now, and I'm terrified of it. Just because last game I didn't have any of him, and he just goes berserk and kind of did Duncan Robinson things, just knocked down a bunch of threes. But I'm not getting to much of him right now, and I am terrified of it. And I say that because I think he could play a shit ton of minutes if he's hot, and I'm skeptical of him getting hot. That's why I don't have much of him, but he's very, very like streaky as it gets. So yeah, I'm not getting much of Duncan Robinson. I guess
okay.
do with
okay. Two super chats. One I missed here. Darren, FanDuel Cash, Caleb Martin and Jaylen Brown, or Butler and Robert Williams.
Caleb Martin, Jaylen Brown, just because I think they play, I don't know, combined potentially 80 minutes.
And then let me run this one because Malcolm Revamp wants to know cash utility plays on DK and FanDuel. If you're not playing Derek White on I'll do DK real quick. If you're not playing Derek White in the captain, then you have to have him in the utility. I think the proper way to go is I'm playing White now in captain. The way things shook out previously, I was trying to decide between Butler and Tatum, but I've got White, Tatum, Butler, Adebayo, Grant Williams, and Haywood Highsmith. I think the coin flip is Adebayo and Brown. I think you really need to do Grant Williams. I think you really need to have Jimmy Butler and Tatum. And I think you really need to have, or that by default puts you with Highsmith or Cody Zeller. And I'd rather roll the dice with Highsmith over Cody Zeller.
Highsmith over Cody Zeller. Yeah. Yep.
Which wouldn't have happened if we didn't see him play 36 minutes. I'm hoping, again, I said, if I get 7 fantasy points, I'm thrilled. I think that's about Cody Zeller's fantasy upside as well. And either one of them could be a DNP tonight, or hell, both of them could be a DNP tonight.
And I agree. This is going to be a fascinating game because I'm the two guys who I'm like most afraid of not having enough of. But yeah, Duncan Robinson being one, and then, not getting to much of him. I think I'm going to go way under the field on a guy like Duncan Robinson. So hopefully that goes my way. What's your opinion on Duncan Robinson? I'm curious.
I think he should play every game, and I think if he doesn't make at least one of his first 2 3-pointers, he shouldn't come back in.
Yep. I guess ride the hot hand.
And now that Highsmith is semi-redundant there, and you've got Vincent back, I mean, would it shock me if he plays his way into 17 minutes? No, I think he's perfectly capable of it. I think it's a ridiculous contract he got, but I don't. He should be in the rotation. He is basically, to get on the court a second time, he needs to show something in the first game. That's it. And he has the last few. So those are perfectly acceptable outcomes, I think. All righty. We are 2 minutes away from lock. By the time you hear that, we'll be in about 60 seconds out. I see someone asking about ownership. Ownership is so tricky on the one-game slates.
Especially with this massive news situation we had with the new starting lineup. The guy being sold out.
We have an injury. We have a new starting lineup. We've got a game 7. How do you account for the Stars most likely playing 40 plus minutes if it's a close game? How, everything's going off median outcome. How are the less casual or the less, fervent fans playing the non-diehards? It gets real tricky on these. Plus contest size has everything to do with it. So that's really hard. But basically, we hit on the cash game lineup for both sides. Those are going to be your most popular plays across the various multipliers as well as utility. Then you're starting to coin flip with the Caleb Zellers, the Kevin Loves, Haywood Highsmith, et cetera, et cetera. So Robert Williams, even such like that. But while we have everybody for 1 minute, tomorrow we get 12:30. We've got the MLB live before lock, and we also have the MLB lineup generator. So I want to just have Jacob, if you can do that, if you can throw that up on the screen, if you have that. I just want to remind everybody this goes for the main slates on FanDuel and DraftKings. You can choose your stack types. You can also get 50% off your first week with the promo code baseball for all. That is baseball, the number 4, all. And this is a great time saver. So you'll get to see us demonstrate it tomorrow on the baseball show. But this is something, as basketball is winding down, you'll want to be able to jump in if you're not a seam head. I know a lot of you are, because it's the best sport out there. But for those of you who are not, it's going to be a long, boring summer once the NBA finals are over, because spring training can only do so much for you, or summer camp, NFL summer camp, and preseason can only do so much for you. So you'll want to check out our lineup generator. You can choose your stacks. DK, you can go 4-4, 5-3, 5-0. FanDuel, you can go 4-4, 4-3, 4-2-2-2. You can choose chalky lineups. You can choose contrarian lineups. You can choose balanced builds. And the one neat thing about baseball that's way different than basketball, and you'll see that right about now as all the contests are locking, the popularity is nowhere near as stacked. It's nowhere near as concentrated. So you can easily build lineups that are not going to be duplicated. Even when you look at our balanced builds, you're coming in with players that are 4 or 5% owned at some of the hitter spots. That gives you your differentiation. But the key thing is we're not letting bad lineups go into the lineup generator. So check that out. Again, promo code baseball for all, and you guys can catch the MLB lineup live before lock show tomorrow at 12:30. Final thoughts, Ryan, as we zip on out of here.
Yes, I just want to say thank you for everyone who tunes into my shows on Saturdays. I believe this will be the last NBA Saturday show for myself this season. So appreciate you guys who are watching. Had another fun season doing a Saturday show. And it was fun also wrapping it up with you, EMac. We hadn't done a show with in a while. So just want to say thanks to all the viewers and all the support for this past season.
Absolutely. It's a good time. So my $20 head-to-head lineup that I'm playing, it's a 2v2. I have Derek White at captain. He has Marcus Smart. I have Bam Adebayo. He has Gabe Vincent. We match with the rest. So
I hope you win. I hope you win.
I hope I win too. I know who I'm rooting for tonight. But I hear they're serving cake and ice cream for our friend who turned 16 today. So I'm going to go out and enjoy some of that. But tune in tomorrow, 12:30, MLB Live Before Lock. You can find Rinpack out there on Twitter at Rinpack. You can find me at EMac DFS. Hat tip to producer Jacob. Follow us on Twitter at stochastic_com. With that, gamers, good luck.